Welcome to Joy and Gratitude Podcast. I'm Queiro, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Miss Amazing Beth Mercurio. And I'd like to say that I'm doing it avant-garde on a rooftop in beautiful Cayman Islands. Beth, what's going on in Boston?
I love it. Well, the best part about this, hello everyone. First of all, I didn't even say hello. Hello everyone. It's Beth Mercurio. Welcome back. Welcome if you're for a first time listening to us. We are so excited that you've decided to join us. Today's episode is going to be great because if you're new, you will hear new things. And if you are not, you will hear some of our favorite elements of some of our past episodes because we have decided at the end of one of our prior episodes. I don't know how I did it. I probably did it purely because I'm a woman in her 50s who jumbles things up all the time, if anyone can relate to that. And instead of saying the word I wanted to say, I said schools. And all of a sudden, Neo and I had a huge laugh and we chuckled because what I was trying to say was skills and tools. And instead of saying those words, I said schools. And then we got really excited about the double entendre of schools. Like, schools are things that we use to help us create impact in the world. Schools spelled differently, SCHOOL, are incredible learning institutions that create lifelong learners. So we just said, there's our topic. We're going to talk about schools, the skills and tools that we use to create impact each and every day of our lives. So some of this may sound like you've heard it before, but we're going to just bring it back to life and talk about all of the different schools that Neo and I use to help us show up as the humans that we want to be. So, Neo, what do you think about schools? What comes to mind for you when I say let's have a conversation about our schools that drive impact?
I have to say that the first thing that came to mind for me was the question that I get all the time. How do you juggle life? You're here, you're there, you're everywhere. And by the way, I'm in the Caymans because I'm working. I'm actually not on vacation. Um, but it really has everything to do with the discipline that you put into your life. And I think about some really smart things that you have to do to take care of yourself as a whole person. So, one of the things is I've talked often about how I wake up in the morning and I have a regimen. It's my 15-minute regimen of making sure that I do a reading, I do my meditation, which for me is prayers. And then after that, I write my joy notes, which is on LinkedIn. And I do it every single day, 7 days a week. And that has turned into a discipline that right after that, I do some exercises. And it makes me start my day in joy and gratitude. It truly makes me say, this is going to be a good day. And that is so important on your mindset of how you start from the beginning your day and having a practice of starting it in a way of joy helps you make it through those hard times that you're going to have throughout the day. Um, so that's the beginning. The beginning is get some discipline, get that habit, and track your habit. You do it even when you don't want to. You just do it because it's how you show up. That's the beginning. There's so much more to talk
Ah,
about.
that is the beginning. And yes, so I love this idea of habit and routine as being a tool that we can use to stay sort of in the mentality of showing up the way we want to, right? Being in the right headspace, heart space to show up as the humans we want to each and every day. I think some of the others that I'll just flow into that because I think they speak to routine and habit are breathing, breath work. I think lots of people have that as a tool in their little toolkit. But I think it's a great one to keep reminding ourselves because we know that when we pause, and there's another one, pause, because pause can look different than breathing. But for me, before I can even breathe, I have to pause. I have to know that I need to slow down. And then from there, I can make a choice about which breathing technique I want. We'll mention one that lots of people probably already know, but is beautiful, which is the box breath, box breathing, which is 4, 4, 4, 4. And it's just a really quick, beautiful way to track yourself. And you can actually picture it sometimes when you call it a box. You go, inhale through the nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and just let it be for 4. And for those of you watching, you saw me literally trace a square on my chest. And for those of you listening, that's really how simple it can be. And just that motion, that tuning into our physical bodies, can calm our nervous system and allow us to make a different choice. So I think breathing is another great, great tool. I think mindfulness is a great one as well. So when you're mindful about whatever you're doing, you do slow down. So even if you're mindful, I mean, the ultimate in mindfulness is mindful in how you're drinking water, mindful in how you're chewing the food that you're eating. I mean, those are extreme moments of mindfulness, but even if we zoom out to just mindful of your surroundings, where are you? Is it sunny out? What does the sun look like? What does the sun bring you some joy? And maybe that's a beautiful link, Nio, to what you said. Our mindfulness can connect to our joy. Our mindfulness can connect to our habit of gratitude and realizing, wow, I'm really grateful that I can hear the peepers in the springtime. I'm grateful to be reminded that we are in periods of new beginnings, that there's seasons that we get to live through. That happens to be where I live. It's very distinctive. And so tuning into that, being mindful is also another tool. So I just added to yours. I love yours around routine and habit, and then some of the elements and tools that can go into those routines and habits: breath work, breathing, mindfulness, slowing ourselves down to be present.
I love what you stated because being present in itself is one of the strongest elements of being whole. You see, because when you're being present, you are actually in that situation. You're not ahead of it, you're not behind it, you're not making assumptions, you're living it. And that makes the difference of you being able to provide your best self to the situation. And with that, I always say be cautious when you are in meetings and all you go into is note taking. Make sure that you're also listening because that is the art of actually being fully present and being able to handle the situation. So when you listen, write those powerful words that you're finding in the message instead of trying to create becoming a scribe to the operation. It's almost like, when you go on vacation and everybody's just taking pictures and they never ever look at those pictures again and they never even experience the moment. I'm saying write down beautiful sunset and then take the picture. Write down the experience, what you need to focus on, and then move on and go back to it so that you can fully engage in it.
I have so many things running through my head right now. I think one, I just want to comment because I'm getting a big chuckle out of it. So I'm going to share my chuckle. But I am sure as we think about being in the now and being in the present and being disciplined, I feel like Nio is exemplifying that. So for those of you that can see her, I mean, she has got wind blowing. She's like got stuff that could very easily distract her. And she is like, we're doing this. We are doing this because we had a plan. We wanted to do it. We do this with some frequency. And as we discussed, should we do it another time? I mean, we could have easily said, you know what, this is not working. She's on the top of a hospital doing some work, but like she can't find indoor space. Wi-Fi is tricky. We had a whole bunch of things that would have been barriers for us, right? It would have been very easy, really easy to say, we're canceling today. We're going to move it to next week. But we knew that part of what we want everybody listening and watching is to know that sometimes just letting go and being in the present moment and giving it a go. We talk about experimentation as another incredible skill. Give it a go, try. What's the worst thing that can happen? We have a big laugh because it didn't work, but like, let's give it a go. So I just love that you are epitomizing one of these incredible skills, which is experiment, try, say the classic yes and, which leads me to another one, like mantra building. I'm a huge mantra person. It's like if you start to see yourself doing a typical action like no, saying no lots of times, no, I can't do that. No, it doesn't make sense, right? The barriers overtake the possibility. Then create a mantra. Say yes. Yes, and is one that lots of people use. I use it a lot. So, mantra making, doing what's possible, not letting barriers get in your way, just saying yes and giving it a go is something that Nio has just shown us right here and now. So I had to bring that up because I think it's a perfect example of a skill that you need to be intentional about using and choosing.
I'm accountable for making sure that I show up for the team. And that is why I'm here. It doesn't matter where I am. That's number one. But also that reflection of being flexible, curious, and just going with the flow. And we talk so much about flow. And you see, it's easy to talk about flow when everything is going well. I could tell you, I've had to mute because ambulance are rolling in. and and it's hilarious as I'm standing here, all the activity around me. But it's not about me. It's about that our team decided that today was the day, this was the time, and we really have a good message to say that life isn't perfect and that you have to flow with it and you have to learn. And from this experience, I am learning, I am feeling victorious because now I know rooftops are not the place to do a podcast.
That's so good. So good. Okay. Okay. So from that, let's stay on that beautiful growth mindset, which is all around learning, right? So we just grew, and instead of us going, we're like, okay, that's easy. We actually have an action that we can take because we said yes. We wouldn't have known. We wouldn't have been able. And honestly, I think this is really fun. So we also talk a lot about fun. We talk about authenticity and we talk about experimentation, all of which are go fit right into our category of schools. And here we are. So part of what we do is this. We talk about it, but then we walk the walk. And I sort of love that we're doing that. And I love this idea around growth mindset. And one of the things for those people that listening that don't know about it, certainly in the leadership realm, lots of people know about it. It's one of the characteristics of a good leader, right? Somebody that has a growth mindset. And what that means is they always want to learn. So they're willing to try new things because truthfully, it's when we do something that's new and super uncomfortable that we are going to grow. If we have the mindset that I can learn from it. So oftentimes when people feel uncomfortable, that is immediately when they either shut down, choose to avoid, say, I don't want to do it, don't do it, cancel, reschedule. I mean, I can list all of the things that happen when you don't give something a go. You don't give it a try. But if you give it a try, even sitting through the discomfort, like Nio is literally doing for us right now, right? She is feeling a little bit uncomfortable. She's having to do things a little bit differently right here in this podcast than she would typically want to do, but she's doing it and she's staying in it right now with us. And I feel like that's the piece. And she's already gotten one learning. I'm sure she's going to get more while we're doing this together. I'm learning from it as well, right? What are all the assumptions that are in play when I'm sitting here doing the podcast my way? Like there's lots that we can learn, good, bad, things we want to continue, things we want to do differently. So I love that you being in a growth mindset is another example of something that I think shows great self leadership, but the people around you learn from it as well.
Beyond the growth mindset, you as a leader are an example, and your attitude will lead the culture. So, my team that's here, and it's an engineering team, they're like, you're crazy. You're really going to go to the rooftop to do this. There is no place, and really, there is no other place I could do it. Um, but they got excited, and you can't see them, but they're all hovering around, seeing this from the background. And what they said to me was, you're proving to us that you're willing to do the uncomfortable, and we're willing to do the uncomfortable in what we're building. So you're the example. And I wasn't really trying to be any Uber example in any way. But it really showed me that as a leader, we define the culture as an influencer. And that is part of who we are as individuals. So as we're going through life, we need to really understand that every decision we make impacts how others see us, because that's the true reality. Not how we see ourselves, but the image that we project to others. And I see myself as goofy, but they see me as someone that they can trust, that I'm going to come through in the uncomfortable moments. And that's pretty cool. I'm honored by that.
It's Yeah, you should be. I feel again, I think you walking the walk, being in the discomfort, still saying yes, it shows so much. And I think to expand on that, we talk about leaders, and I just want to say oftentimes our listeners may think, oh, that's not me, I'm not a leader. Some people self-identify that word. So I just want to clarify, and I've done this before, I'm going to do it again. We are all leaders of self. So when we use the word leader in this podcast, I want to be really clear. We may give corporate examples, but Nio even alluded to the fact that, like, as individuals, we are leaders. So, as a parent, as a mother, as a father, as anybody, as a leader of self, you model. So, the way you show up, your family members are watching, your community members are watching. So, I just want to make sure that you think of an expansive definition of leader, because everybody on this podcast that's listening or watching is a leader and can have impact in choosing how they experiment, how they say yes, how they have a learning mindset, how they're willing to ask questions, how they employ mindful listening, which we just talked about, or even just as we talk about it, one of the other things that's popping into mind is creativity. So, this idea of we don't know what's coming and being adaptable and flexible, but with this mindset of possibility. And I think it all comes to this ability to fail as well is one of the ones that we talk about. So we have a learning mindset, and one of the things is to push through that discomfort. But the other thing is being willing to fail, to say if it doesn't work, that's okay, and staying in that learning mindset. Because I think that willingness to fail and get it wrong, that's where I'm laughing, because you and I are both very light about it. But in the past, I was not light about failing. I was incredibly intense about failing. And I did not want to fail. And I would set my life up to not fail. And now I just realize, wow, how I wasn't setting myself up for freedom, for possibility, and for growth, and that was really stunting my growth. So now I'm joyful. Hopefully you guys can, for those of you that can see me, I'm very light today. This whole thing I find to be so fun, because it is just a reiteration of a willingness to do something, to go for it, and be a little bit more
Yeah.
carefree.
You know, it's funny. Our world is changing so much. And we're in a situation that innovation is no longer just creeping into our workforce, but it's also in our lives at home. So many things are just totally voice activated, and just we maneuver life so differently. And it's going to continue. You can't stop innovation, right? It's a train that once it starts, it just keeps going, like that car that's humming around. Uh, but I will tell you that what I've learned is the acceptance is the power. Accepting that I have something new to learn, and the curiosity behind it, and testing it. And the failure is just a learning point. And it's fun if you are willing to be working with your kids, working with your team members or your neighbors, and you just put in something new for your backyard or garden. We have these new beds that we just put in for vegetables and all that stuff. And it's kind of funny because I'm the worst gardener in the world, but I got I believe that I can do it because it's self-watering and it's so wonderful. And it was funny that all my neighbors went to Costco and we all bought the same beds. Now, it's going to be fun to see who does well with it and who doesn't. But the fact that we're going on this journey, we're being curious, we're testing this new innovation of self watering and doing spritzing and all the stuff that this thing does. It's exciting. And we have to just be able to laugh in the midst of chaos. Just learn to laugh. That's a power tool that we have to engage in.
I love it. You named it. It is. It's another tool. And one of the other things that you alluded to that I love is other people, right? So you mentioned you're doing it in community, but also when we don't know, we can ask other people. So, this idea of one of the things I think that's really important is getting teachers, mentors, people that can help us along the way. So, we're never really alone. Maybe that's this big moment, this aha moment is you're never really alone. You might just have to ask for some help. You might have to be honest about needing some support if you don't know something, being authentic to not knowing. All of a sudden, if you start to just ask questions from a truly authentic place of curiosity, openness, learning, um, people sort of come through and you go, oh my gosh, like here I was all these years that I didn't ask those questions because I didn't want somebody to think I didn't know the answer, or I didn't ask that question because I was really, insecure, I lacked the confidence. Or but the interesting part is when you get confident enough to know you don't know the right, all the things, like just say that right up front. And then all of a sudden you start to ask more interesting questions. And then people start to see that and then they want to help. And then all of a sudden it feels like there's this beautiful effect that happens once you open yourself up to saying, I want people to help teach me more. I want mentors that help share their experiences. And so hopefully this is just one little element of that. I think in some way, Neo, we're hoping that we can help people that maybe didn't know what it could feel like to try something super uncomfortable. What could be on the other side of that? They get to watch us and go, and the laughter. And you can do it all with a little bit of laughter.
Totally agree. And we always have to remember nothing in this world is created in a silo. It is the culmination of great ideas, great failures that give us the ability to create. We get created because we create because we get inspired. And that means it's outside of you. And there's such power when we are talking about that creation and we talk to a friend, a mentor, a specialist, whatever, an expert in something that maybe you just had an idea about, and we share it. And the energy that is formed from having multiple people come together to create something is powerful. We are best when we are creating. Um, and, Einstein actually talked about that a person that's not creating is a person that's almost, and I'm not doing the quote justice or correct, but basically they're dying inside. And it's true. And creation can be very simple as the recipe, as simple as um, the new route to go somewhere, the new hiking trail. It's creating something that gives you a moment of freedom, a moment of joy. And with that, I will share the joy song for this particular episode, and is Who You Are by Jessica J. A sweet song about it doesn't matter what other people think about you. It's about who you show up as and who you want to be. So find your way, in this fun little world that we live in. Let's hear about the gratitude.
Yeah. I love that. And each one of us, just to, I can't help but do one thing, which is just each one of us, what you just talked about and finding our way. We all have skills and tools. Like each one of us has our own. But hopefully, the more we talk about it, the more we share in community with people about it, they'll realize there's that many more. And so we can just enhance our toolkits, we can increase our skills and show up as better humans. All right, with that. You can hear them. You can see them for those of you watching. Reaching in. Oh, this one's trying to get away from me. I got it. I got it. Ah. Ooh, trust. Trust. Well, we can imagine that what we really need to do goes all the way back to self leadership. Is that we need to trust ourselves. Nio trusted that if she gave it a go and it didn't work, she would learn from it and we would make adjustments. I trusted Nio and said, "All right, why not? Let's give it a go." So we trusted ourselves, we trusted each other. So the foundation of trust to allow us to grow, to allow us to learn, it's so interlinked that I'm smiling for those of you that can see me because it is such an incredible component to our ability to learn and grow and use all those schools to show up as our best
Now,
selves.
if you think of the song that I selected, Who You Are, and then Trust, it truly closes the loop because the schools that we're using are all about expanding our trust, understanding who we are, in our wonderful, amazing joy and gratitude. Thank you for coming along on this journey with us. We'll see you next time.